Did you ever guess who invented the machine which flies in the air? We know it by the name of airplane. What was the first time when the airplane hit the sky and also when it crashed for the first time? How many people lost their lives in the first experience of flying? The brothers who built it and never got married for their childhood dream. So, in this video, we discuss the success story of building the first airplane. The invention is not the bear of a single person. Instead, this invention is the result of two hardworking brothers who were more passionate about their dream to come true. It is the story of the Wright brothers. Wilbur was the elder brother, and Orville was the younger one. They are the residents of the town named Dayton in the state of America. Wilbur was born in 1867 and Orville in 1871. Their father, Milton Wright, was a pastor in a church. All this started in 1878 when Milton Wright gifted both his sons a toy helicopter. The brothers were very happy to see this toy helicopter, which was designed by a French engineer named Alphonse Pinot. One day while playing with this toy, both became angry. If this toy can fly, why a machine cannot fly with humans? It was the time when their dream of flying in the air started. As time passed, both brothers got busy with their education. In 1889, Wilbur started a newspaper called the West Side News. He also involved his younger brother in this work. However, both brothers had no special experience in running a newspaper, and after a few years, they had to shut down the business. The Wright brothers started a business repairing and selling bicycles. They spent their days fixing people's bicycles and repairing punctures. In the next 4 years, the Wright brothers also introduced a new brand of bicycles. But the desire to build a ship always kept him restless. Then, after many years of study and experimentation, he built a plane without an engine, which was actually a glider. They used to tie the empty glider with a rope and try to fly it like a kite. The people of the town would also come to see the experiments of these brothers to pass the time. In 1901, they had a better glider design. When they came back the next year, this design was made by learning from last year's experiences. The glider was flying, but they were not yet able to control it as they wished. Fed up with the glider's continued failures, the Wright brothers grew increasingly frustrated and returned ahead of schedule. In 1902, both brothers returned to Kitty Hawk. But this time, the glider was so great with the best design that instead of swinging around in the air, it started flying straight. Now, the Wright brothers could balance the glider in the air, but their childhood dream was always to design an engine that would run on petrol, that could fly and can be controlled by them. After much hard work, with the help of Charlie Taylor, who was a mechanic, they successfully created an engine that ran on petrol. It was on December 17, 1903, when the Wright brothers successfully experimented with a controlled airplane flight. But the problem was who would take the credit for this first human flight? The older brother Wilbur Wright, or the younger brother Orville Wright. To solve this problem, they tossed a coin, and the older brother Wilbur Wright won the toss. The people of the nearby neighborhood also gathered to see this experience. A track like a railway line was also made as a runway to fly the plane. This time Orville boarded the ship instead of Wilbur. Wilbur Wright himself set up the camera, focused the view of the plane, and told a townsman to press the button as soon as the plane took off. Then Wilbur Wright himself took hold of the plane's wing and moved it forward on the track. The plane rose into the air with a jerk. At that moment the camera button was pressed, and man's first mechanized flight became the image. Their airplane flew for about 12 seconds, covering a distance of 120 feet. This successful flight created a sensation in America and marked the beginning of the Wright brothers' success journey. When the news of man's first mechanized flight spread in America, no one believed it. Only one newspaper, the Virginian Pilot, published the news, but it was also false. The headline of the newspaper was that the flying machine flew for 3 miles over the sand and waves of Kitty Hawk in strong winds. Obviously, this news was false. September 21, 1908, Wilbur Wright flew an airplane over the town of Le Mans, near Paris. The flight flew for 31 minutes and 25 seconds over an estimated distance of 66 kilometers and won the Aero Club of France prize. Orville Wright visited a military base in the U.S. state of Virginia, successfully flew in front of U.S. military officers at Fort Myer. Orville made a few successful flight demonstrations, but unfortunately a tragedy happened. Orville took Thomas Selfridge, a U.S. Army lieutenant, with him. The plane took off successfully, but after a few minutes, one of the plane's propellers broke and the plane began to fall. Orville tried hard to control the ship, but failed. The plane hit the ground at full speed. Selfridge died in the accident. So, it was the first time that an airplane crashed. 5 years later, Wilbur traveled from America to Europe. After arriving in Europe, the Wright brothers established their aviation company in America called Wright Planes and began to manufacture airplanes. He designed some new airplanes. The U.S. Army gave them contracts to build planes and train pilots. The Wright brothers' new airplanes were now ready to travel commercially. Gradually, the Wright brothers became famous all over the world. Their 11 years of hard work had also made them successful businessmen. After the death of Wilbur Wright in 1912, Orville Wright took over the responsibility of the company. So friends, the Wright brothers did not look back due to their passion. They never married because of their passion. You can gauge the enthusiasm of these brothers here. The name of these brothers comes first in the invention of airplanes, due to which today the world has shrunk and become connected.